I'm here to talk to you all about mistletoe, mainly the European plant since it's got more mythology and medicine uses surrounding it. The scientific name is Viscum album, spelled like that, in case any of you wanted to know. The word mistletoe comes from the Old English words missile and tan, and missile means dung, tan means tree, so mistletoe is basically dung on a tree. Mistletoe is a hemiparasite. It can photosynthesize, but to live it still needs a host tree. And the cool thing about that is it means it never has to touch the ground. That's why it's considered a sacred plant in some cultures. And even though the plant itself is toxic, it's still sometimes used in medicine. In the Middle Ages, it was called all heal because among many other ailments, it would help with epilepsy, high blood pressure, rheumatism, heart disease. And in the early 1900s, it was used as a tranquilizer. And it was also hung above doors to prevent witches and evil spirits from entering a house. And I could go into it, but I'd be running overtime since I've got a lot of other stuff here. It's also a possible treatment for cancer. It's featured really heavily in Norse mythology and a bit less in Celtic and Druid mythology. I'm going to go into the Celtic and Druid mythology first. Mistletoe growing on oak trees. It grows on a bunch of different types of trees, but the oak tree mistletoe is the most sacred because oak is the sacred tree of the thunder god Tyrannus. And because mistletoe never has to touch the ground, it's considered to be higher, closer to the gods. And mistletoe has white berries, and it was thought to be an aphrodisiac because those berries were thought to contain the sperm of gods.
Wait, the sperm of gods?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'm sure you all probably know an aphrodisiac is something that enhances a sex drive. In the ancient Celtic and Druid mythology, the practice was to cut the mistletoe from an oak tree on the 6th night of the new moon of the winter solstice, which would be just around the new year when the moon is still waxing, which means it's getting bigger, and that was a good sign. And it was hung over doorsteps, over doorways to protect from thunder and lightning because of the relating back to their thunder god Tyrannus. And in Norse mythology, which I think this is really interesting, mistletoe is featured in the death of the god Balder, who's the son of Odin and Frigga. Odin is the main god, even he's not completely omniscient. And Frigga is the goddess of love. And Balder, he was a really well-respected guy among the Aesir, which is the Norse pantheon, because he was the god of light, joy, purity, beauty, innocence, and reconciliation. So pretty much everybody loved him, except for Loki, who's the jealous trickster god, who could sometimes be okay, but sometimes he was not at all. And when Frigga foresaw Balder's death, she made everything, living, dead, inanimate, animate, what have you, promise to never harm Balder, but she forgot about mistletoe, thinking that it wasn't, important enough to do. And Loki, he was actually born a giant, a god by adoption, so and the giants are the natural enemies of the Norse gods. And he tricked Hoder, Balder's twin brother, who's the blind god of winter, into throwing a dart made of mistletoe at Balder. So Balder died, Hoder was executed. Balder was sent to hell since he didn't die in battle, so he can't go party with Odin in Valhalla. Balder had a chance to be brought back if everything living and dead wept for him, but Loki didn't because he's Loki and does not like Balder. And after Ragnarok, the final battle between the gods and everything, where it's basically like the apocalypse. Baldur and Hodor will be reborn. And mistletoe is a pretty cool plant. That's about it.